But yeah, gonna be an interesting one here. I think, you know, on paper you would assume Dan would win this one fairly comfortably, but sometimes, you know, Ben has those games where he just is kind of firing on all cylinders. He's really tough to beat. As Andrew Young, I believe, is it Andrew? Yeah, Andrew Young gets brought down on the first play. Big sack. The D-line just absolutely having their way on the first play. Gonna be a shotgun look here. Andrew Young takes the snap. Nothing really open again. Forces that one. Devin White swats it away. Could have been a pick. Just a disastrous first two plays for the Falcons. A big sack and then almost what could have been an interception. Lucky that was just swatted away. Andrew Young takes the shotgun snap. Got to make sure. Wow. And Baber absolutely screams in. I mean, that was a defensive masterclass. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers came ready to play on that series. A sack, almost a pick, and then another sack. Fourth in a country mile. Cook gonna take this. Cook makes one man miss, gets depleted. First and 10. Buccaneers taking over here. 48-yard line. Let's see what Dan does. We know Dan is one of the more efficient pass users in the league. Let's see if he wants to get going early or be a little safe. This will be a pass play. Probably gonna go to B. Will find B. Kitchens able to get the first down. 12 yards. Good first play. There's a few times you see me looking a little distracted and like I'm looking down. I do have the FC Cincy game on right here, and right I got the game right here, but I'm here for the boys. That's gonna be an RPO to Cook. Cook makes one man miss with the wheels, not able to make the next miss. 2 for 2 for 25 yards. So far, the Buccaneers look like they are far more prepared for this game than the Falcons. Handoff to James Cook. James Cook, when he gets to playoff football, absolutely starts to eat. And you see it right there, 17-yard rush. I mean, it really feels like this, it becomes February, January, February, and James Cook just locks in. Interdivisional playoff games are awesome. Exactly, yeah. Both these guys know each other well. You got to get a little creative, right? Because you can't just run your normal stuff. Your opponent knows your normal stuff is not... Oh, good step up in the pocket. Can he dive for it? Kitchens? Was that Kitchens, right? Tried for it. Able to get the ball to the 1. Really good. I mean, we see that out of Dan a lot this year. Like, when he's playing his best, he's really utilizing that pocket really well. Steps up. Just kind of hovers right at the line of scrimmage and then dumps it down to that drag route. Did he sub Cook out there? He goes to Covington, and Covington honestly could have crawled into the end zone. Touchdown, Buccaneers. Buccaneers 7, Falcons 0. So far, Buccaneers in complete control, but I guess you could really look at that last series as a bit of a wash. I mean, the D end, both of the Buccaneers D ends almost like basically got insta sheds on first and third down. Obviously, been almost through a pick on second down, but let's see how he responds. Gonna need to put, for the confidence, gonna need to put together a couple good plays, right? Like the first and second down, these plays can't be negative. This will be an RPO. Probably a smart call there again. Yeah, just get something positive. Get something down the field, like just a little further down the field. Just get something moving. That's gonna go to Garrett Wilson for 7 yards. And off to Bijan, able to get 2 yards, just short of the first. 3rd and 1, though, very manageable. Looks like he's going to come out and single back here. Dan and maybe a big nickel look. This looks like he should be able to get this if this is just a simple run. We'll see what kind of pressure it gets. Not much at all. Like I said, Bijan jukes to the inside for some reason. Felt like maybe if he juked to the outside, he could have had some room. Regardless, gets a much needed first down. The Falcons are starting to put a little drive together here now. Andrew Young gonna go to that bin, Tennant, staple, little out route. That one's to Drake London. And now we see no huddle. This is something you see out of some users. You see it out of Ben, the Hootie, some of these guys. They like to, I think when they get in a look that they like and they like to just kind of try to keep you off guard a little bit. Really great defense that time, but offensive line held up very well. Drake London able to find him down the field. O-line gave Andrew Young just enough time. Showing man blitz here. I'm assuming Ben sees it. Let's see what he dials up. Oh, and he's going with a user rush. Wow, an aggressive play out of Dan right there. Just sends his own player, sends everybody, and able to break that play up. Second and 10 here. Good drive by the Falcons so far. You want to get points on this drive. So that's going to be another little out route to London. Only able to get 4. But positive nonetheless. Looks like it's a doubles look here, maybe. Andrew Young making a few adjustments. Buccaneers in more weak box look here. Only one guy over the middle. Maybe a dime look. And off to Bijan, trying to take advantage of that. He does get the blocking, and Bijan picks up a first down. You got to be careful with that, right? When with good running backs like this, you don't always on 3rd and 10 and 3rd and longs just kind of want to come out in a dime look like that, because you get the good blocking. It's going to be hard to bring him down. Another handoff to Bijan. That dives a little early, but able to bring him down for a gain of 1. Could have been a loss of about 2, I think, though. Dove just a tad too early by Dan there. Andrew Young, shotgun again here. Could this be a jet pass? It will be. Wilson, wow! Great blocking. Can he get there? He has the speed. Dives in. Touchdown, Falcons. I mean, what a great job finding the hole, finding the gap, finding the blockers. I mean, that was really good running vision by Ben there, and a great response drive after a really bad first drive. Yeah. I mean, Dan, I agree, Connor. It'd be very easy after that drive to like kind of just start making some unnecessary quick reads, but he stood in there, was patient, and trusted his O-line, assuming that, you know, he made the correct assumption that surely the D-line can't be screaming like that all game long. Morgan Rowe making a handful of adjustments here. Oh, thought he was going to go to B, just kind of goes to the safe one in James Cook. Maybe he was about to get sacked. I didn't see. I was looking down the field. Jesse Bates, I believe, made that tackle. 2nd and 7. Into the first quarter, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and tossing your twos in the chat. Go ahead and just toss them in there. Lob them up, you know, whatever you want to do. Morgan Rowe motioning Cook to the opposite side of the formation. Rowe takes the snap. Going to have Cook wide open. It makes one man miss. Oh, gets depleted. Able to hang on to the football. Rowe drops back. Gonna have a wide open, risky read. Wow, don't know what Dan saw there. Yeah, if you want to, Connor. You know, I'm in the booth, so, or I'm in the comm booth, so. Well, that's got to be a PK. Sorry, I'm again, like I said, watching the But James Cook makes one juke, only able to get a gain of 2 there. But yeah, Connor. I'll be here. Morgan Rowe probably has wide open. That was a tight read. Threw it maybe a second too late, but doesn't matter. Morgan Rowe, 7 for 7. Highly efficient so far. Going to be a handoff to Cook. Cook cuts that back up the middle, able to get 4 yards. Smart cut back there as there was really nothing on the left side of the field there. Rowe takes the snap. Oh, might have had, yeah, oh, he saw him a little late. I was about to say might have had, I think it was RB. It was whoever's in the slot there. Saw it a second too late and able to get brought down there. Is that Chase Young? Is that who that it looked like with the hair? It looked like Chase Young, but not super familiar with this Falcons team. RB is going to be open. He will go to RB. Is he able to get that up the field and get a first? It will be a first down, as I believe that was Dyson. Only that last pass, the first incompletion for Morgan Rowe, and we're nearly, you know, a quarter and a half into this game. Like I said before, very efficient game out of Dan so far, making just an insane amount of adjustments on this one, dialing something up that he likes. Gonna probably go to Y, will go to Y. A little aggressive with the user there, just gets caught on that in that zig concept. Gets caught biting in a little. Handoff, Cook, able to fight forward for a first down. Jukes right into the D tackle, but able to fall forward. Morgan Rowe using a fair bit of time here. Oh, gets screamed at, but able to make, again, another good read. I mean, Dan is just passing super efficiently so far. I mean, it just seems really comfortable for him right now. Handoff to Cook.
Hey, Cody, it's Warren. What's up?
Hey, Warren. What's up, dude?
I didn't know you were solo. Let me jump in this thing. Let's go.
Yeah.
I can place hold until Connor gets on or whatever.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
What's going on so far? I'm just tuning in.
Pretty much Ben's first drive, the Buccaneers D-line oh, risky read right there, but able to complete it. Buccaneers D-line on the first play of the game just screamed, got like a 9-yard sack, then Ben almost threw a pick. And then on the next play, they screamed again, and it was like 4th and 28. He punted it. Buccaneers drove down, scored, and then Falcons then responded on their next drive for the score. So Dan's second drive, I think he's only thrown 1 incomplete pass. He's been pretty efficient so far. Morgan Rowe gonna run this, able to get the first down. Not known to use his legs too much, but able to get it there.
Yeah, and one of the things underrated part of Ben's game is he hit sticks almost more than anybody. And I usually, you get the DMs after, and people are like, "Wow, you hit stick every play." Playing Ben, he would hit stick anyone and everyone. He's got an underrated user, I think, but Dan is like one of the most patient human beings on planet Earth. So, it's going to be a test of who kind of blinks first.
Yeah, Dan, I feel like is one of these guys where it's like you really can only panic him if you get like a multi-score lead. Then it seems like he starts to kind of make some more finicky reads. As not a great play call there. We see a lot of users, obviously myself included, kind of try these jet touch passes, but they really are just kind of 50-50. It feels like.
Yeah, and that was a corner getting in. I wonder if that's like an on-the-ball type of scenario, but good defense there.
Single back look here. Interesting route concept. Gonna maybe switch this play, it looks like. Falcons D-line shifts around a little bit. A little bit of a chess game here. Dan trying to use as much time as possible. Gonna go to the RPO. Can he get the block? Oh, he cuts it in, but it's not gonna matter. Gets enough of that enough of that defender to get the block down and get the touchdown.
That's what you look for offensively. I mean, that deep safety is in no position to make that play. Good play by Dan there. Took time off the clock, but Ben still got a minute 15. I mean, getting any points before half is going to be huge. And Connor, just so you jump in.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Hello.
Good old three-man booth. We love it.
Yeah, three-man booth. This is elite stuff out of BLN as Simpkins takes it to about 21 there, but I continue to be very impressed by playoff Dan. I mean, it's so funny because like the first half of every season, he's like a mediocre user. Like I'm not really sure what kind of switch flips in his head once things get, I guess, super important in the second half. But he is, oh god.
Wilson able to get a big chunk of yards here. No panic now after that play. No panic timing wise. You mean really you can. If you're Ben, you want to get points and have, less than 15 seconds on the clock for Dan.
We've seen some really poor end of half management in the last two games.
Yeah.
So like this is, going to be the key or one of the keys to the game.
But Simpkins with a big play here goes out of bounds. I don't know about you guys, but I think I try to juke in there, or maybe even go down, because it seemed like he just was okay with running out to the side, but I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter in that situation.
Yeah, with one man between you and the end zone, I don't hate it there. But this might be, as we have an inside zone not go for a lot. This might be a situation where the entire game comes down to the fact that both of Dan's DNs were able to get sheds on the first drive. Like Dan looks virtually unstoppable right now.
Yeah.
It's funny because Dan really is a tale of two people. You'll watch him and he'll just have like the worst game of all time, and then he'll play again and it's like the complete opposite. So.
Andrew Young gonna go. Risky read to Bijan there. That was weird. It was like, those little weird routes. You see someone on the right there. It's just like a weird zig route. It's a very long delayed zig route, and it seems like sometimes they just stop. Right there, he stopped and was almost picked.
That's a lock-on route. People lock on. They're throwing that as soon as they pick that play.
Yeah.
So wow.
Oh, maybe forgot to double team the inside stuff. Absolutely screams in. And do we see aggression here?
Was it Matt yesterday who was wondering if the interior DL was nerfed? No. The answer to that's no, and I think we saw it right there.
And wow, it looks like we are going to see a bit of aggression here. I don't know if I love this, but we'll see after this play. We'll get your guys' thoughts here. Andrew Young, bunch look here. Dan going through a couple different adjustments defensively. Oh, that's a risky read. It gets picked off, and this could be a disaster. Jamel Dean wants to do a little dance routine, gets tackled. Oh, no. Just unfortunate right there. Probably a little antsy with his left stick and then ends up running backwards.
It's like a relic from past bans where it was impossible to get a pick six without having your guy just stop midway through. I'm not really sure what happened, but yeah, I don't hate going for it. Obviously, the read wasn't great, but
wow.
Honestly, I think you got to try to match Dan touchdown for touchdown however you can. Just didn't work out there for Ben, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he would have had him if he just caught. Dan didn't even know what defense he wanted to be in, and he just got to the one that happened to stop the vertical wheel.
Yeah.
So sometimes I know it's fourth down. you have to have a fourth down play, right? You have to have that play saying, I come out, I know my read within 1 second. And that kind of seemed like Ben was waiting to see what Dan was doing, and just, right place, right time for that corner.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting second half here. I mean, Dan gets the ball first, and I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, if Dan drives down and gets a touchdown, I don't see a world where Ben's able to come back and win this. I just don't think Dan's gonna make any kind of risky reads if he goes up to 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but Ben's in a bad situation here. I mean, situationally, there have been a couple games where we're like, okay, you can punt this, you can maybe, be down 1 possession because the user you're playing isn't necessarily hyper efficient, will give you mistakes of her own. We're talking about that a little bit, Cody, during the CMAS Lockett game, but I think Dan right now is a different animal. We've only seen 1 incompletion all day. Cook, when he ran the ball, has been efficient. I just don't really know what Ben's supposed to do here other than just pray for a bad read.
Yeah, maybe a lucky shed by the D-line and a sack fumble. That's going to be to Kelsey. Kelsey able to get it to the outside. The cut stick somehow missed. Looked like he kind of glitched through him, but regardless, it was about a gain of 15.
And we've seen a lot of, short passes go for big gains, and that's just reminiscent of launch Madden, where these people got to kind of get a little bit better tackling and, just put guys in positions. If someone's going to throw short, then just, have your zone drops be a little bit lower, be a little more aggressive on your plays. Can't give up a 2-yard out and have them go for 15.
Agree completely. Rowe gonna take this snap. Good usering that time. Really good usering. Gonna have to get rid of that. That was what the Falcons needed to make this a 3rd and long. That was really crisp defensive user.
Yeah, really nice out of Ben. Took away multiple concepts, and he's gonna need to be that crisp every play. It's easier said than done, but that's what he's going up against here.
Rowe takes the snap. Probably has A. Will find A. Kelsey able to hold on to it. I don't know if whatever defender that was out there has a knockout ability or not, but whenever you see the star under there and then they hit him, you get nervous that ball's getting hit out.
Yeah, it's auto panic.
This is going to be a jet touch pass. Able to get it to Dyson. Ooh, not able to find the edge, but gets 4 yards.
Going back real quick to the previous, couple plays, the addition of Travis Kelsey by Dan was such an underrated team-building move, in my opinion. That is the perfect safety valve. That's perfect, okay, 3rd and medium, 2nd and medium. Just get me, 6-7 yards on this drag or on this curl, whatever. He's got sure hands, and we saw right there.
Handoff. Cook spins, but spins right into a defender. Able to get, I think it was about 3 or 4 yards there, and makes this a 3rd and 2.
Is this 4-down territory for Dan, or is he already in field goal range?
That's a good call. Knowing Dan, this could be 4-down territory as nothing's really open. Gonna go deep to Kitchens. Wow, that's a hot one by Morgan Rowe.
I mean, what is with all of these AI receivers just coming down with these big plays? You got Cook, Kitchens, JJ Dyson. It seems like they all can just boss people. It's crazy.
That's going to be an RPO look. James Cook trying to get a little juke happy there, and honestly works out as he gets it down to the 1.
So that last deep play, Dan clicked on, moved the receiver a little bit to the right, came back and cut it. It was very it's hard to tell what happened, but he made that play by himself, and there's no man knockout. If he was in zone, that's a knockout. Since it was man, that was a completion.
Tries the quarterback sneak,
oh,
and Morgan Rowe is injured. He stands back up. That is something to take note of. Ladies and gentlemen.
Stay down.
Wow,
Stay down.
This could be disaster. As we'll see another handoff. James Cook able to waltz into the end zone as the Red Sea was parted. Luckily, just a strained bicep for Morgan Rowe, but something to keep note of. Obviously, once they get hurt once, more likely to get hurt the second time.
Strained bicep honestly sounds like it sucks for a quarterback, but yeah, Morgan Rowe, probably, if not the best, the most accomplished AI quarterback in the league. He'll get back in there unless he's wheeled out of the stadium.
A goal line sneak injury, and we've seen some crazy, Cody went through it with Lamar, I went through it with Herbert last season. There's just, as soon as someone gets hurt, you're just you want to get the next play over with so you can just see your fate right away.
Andrew Young takes the snap, goes to Bijan Robinson. No juke there. Maybe he's on conservative. I don't know. Interesting that we didn't see a cut inside. No huddle here. I'm guessing we're going to see a healthy serving and no huddle the rest of the game for the Falcons. Another handoff and gets stuffed. Speaking of interior D linemen.
Yeah, this is where I worry a little bit from a Falcons perspective. Like, Ben is at his best when he's unhurried, just, going to the huddle, making reads. I mean, Cody, we both know this. We've seen this crop at Madden's. Like, I think he overuses hurry up, and I think sometimes it can hurt him. It can lead to kind of rush decision making.
Yep, and I mean, fuel to the fire of what you just said right there. I mean, just a really risky read because I think but the thing is he doesn't need to go no huddle right now. I think he has plenty of time to be patient. As Andrew Young just dropping back way too far there. We talk about it a lot on BLN, Warren, at least when I'm in the booth. You gotta have good pocket presence, or you'll let that D line come in.
Yeah, and I think that was like an insta win too. I was watching 3-man rush. Dude just throws the left tackle on the ground. That's just super unfortunate. But yeah, you step up, or I mean, on the play before. I know it's easy to say from here, but Kyle Pitts has been open on that second level, and Ben hasn't kind of trusted it. And that's kind of what Ben does well, is find Kyle Pitts in that intermediate range. But last two plays he had him pretty open, just kind of went short and almost threw a pick on one of them.
Morgan Rowe and the Buccaneers now back on offense. Gonna have James Cook wide open. Does goes to James Cook, able to get the first down. No juke there. My guess is now was Vita Vea is now hurt. I think that's who that was. And the D-line injuries rolling up on this team. But as I was saying before, I'm guessing James Cook and company have conservative on because no need to risk a turnover when you've got a 2-touchdown lead. Takes the snap here. Nothing really open. Gonna get sacked. That's where you have to be careful. Those throw out of sacks can get risky.
Do you see the frozen players on the field?
No, I missed that one.
It was mid-play too. The lineman and the D-line got stuck and they just didn't move.
James Cook tried to make something happen. Barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10 here. Does Dan have a dot to extend this drive? Oh, has RB threw it a little late. Is it going to cost him? It does, as the knockout ability gets there. I think he needed to hit that right out of his cut.
That wasn't a bad read. Good route combo. Just better defensive coverage. I mean, Ben's user, and he's kind of calling good plays. He's really making Dan go through his progressions, and even on the throw out of sack a couple plays ago, if that pass was thrown, that was a good potential at being intercepted. So big play here, 4th down, and Dan's dropping his nuts.
I don't hate it. You'd at the very least come out on an offensive look. If you like it, you can hike it. If not, take the delay and punt it away. But Dan has been known to get aggressive in these situations, obviously.
Yeah, gonna take the delay.
Sometimes Dan's play art just gives me a freaking headache. I don't know what I'm looking at, and then I don't know what he's continuing to do. But you're absolutely right, Connor. I think that's exactly what he did. It was kind of see, if he maybe caught him in something he liked, but
yeah,
it was just interesting. I
think there was about 1% chance he was going for. I mean, it needed to be just the most wild defensive play call out of Ben, I think, for Dan to go for here, because again, he just, outside of his second offensive drive, Ben really hasn't done a ton. He's moved the ball here and there, but this Buccaneers defense just keeps making big plays.
If I can just interject real quick, for some reason Ben seems to have the juice when it comes to blocking punts.
Oh yeah.
So I would absolutely come out, and as he did, I would absolutely come out and punt tight, and this is like an underrated, kind of interesting play here.
Yeah. Also, another thing to take note of is Dan cannot take another penalty, or he's going to get griefed out of this game.
Yeah, that would be an all-timer, honestly.
So hopefully
Ben accepting the penalty in the playoffs, but I think he knew what Dan's trying to do, and that's perfectly fine there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, he's purposely taking both of those, and then he realized I don't want to get this kick blocked, but Yeah, you got to be careful with those multiple penalties. I mean, I think, it's just, you never know with EA. Maybe two back-to-back penalties will just kick you out of the game.
The grieving L would have been literally one of an all-time. Like,
Andrew Young hands this off to Bijan. Bijan able to fight forward for 7 yards. 8 rushes for 19 yards. Kind of indicative of this Falcons team. Is this going to be no huddle? So I will keep here on the call. Going to be an RPO look to Wilson. Cuts that one inside the field, trying to make something happen. Not much. Does he go no huddle again? He does. See, again, I just don't think we need the no huddle, right? I think you just need to try to get this score, fairly quickly. As that one's going to be deep to Pitts. Maybe a risky read. There was 2 guys there that time.
The 2 people that Dan always says he worries about when it comes to these Falcons matchups, Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. Both of them have been complete non-factors in this game. So Dan's really executing his defensive scheme.
there's nothing that upsets me more than a second down run. This team's been open every single play except for the one to Kyle Pitts, so just kind of unfortunate timing. Dan did a nice coverage defense here, and let's see what Ben can do with 3rd and 9.
Andrew Young making a handful of adjustments here. Oh, yeah, it's going to be, wow, okay. Yeah, maybe Dan went with the swap because he thought he bit down too far, but yeah, he kind of baited him right into that decision. So good job out of Dan.
I think you got to go here with how efficient Dan's been. I think there's too little time in this game left for you to punt with it being a 2-touchdown game already. We'll see if Ben's got a dot in him. I mean, this is the game here.
Andrew Young, 4th and 9, 48 seconds left in the 3rd, making a handful of adjustments here. Nothing really open, and that swatted as well. Maybe he's got swat on as one of his adjustments. I'm not sure, but because that could have been a pick 6 probably regardless. The Buccaneers take over, and quite frankly, are in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and Cody, Warren, you're both better offensive users than me. Let me know if you're seeing a bunch of reads that Ben's missing. But for me, I don't think this is a story of Ben playing badly on offense. I think Dan's just got all the right play calls for all the right times around defense. I think he's really just kind of locked in on what Ben wants to do, and he's doing a good job shutting it down.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Ben's not doing, Ben's running his plays, but Ben is going to watch this one back and kick himself. Dan's in cover 3 mostly every play. He's hit big plays on the seams. The deep crossers are wide open. He's just not reading those for whatever reason. Outs, curls, things like that. If Dan's going to sit in cover 3, Ben's going to be able to make those reads.
Ooh, James Cook absolutely destroyed on that. And do we see aggression here? Now this could be interesting. I mean, I think the smart choice would just be take your points, go up 3 scores, but does he want to just go ahead and put the dagger in him potentially?
I have another smart choice for the people. Put your 4s in the chat.
It's a good idea.
Dan's getting the most out of this hot route master. I think I've seen Cook on an angle route at least 75 times out of every single play, legitimately every play.
I thought he missed that for a second.
As he will kick the field goal, going up 24-7, and it is frankly going to take a miracle for these Falcons to come back in this game. But yeah, to your point before, Connor, I agree with what you're saying, what Warren said. It just feels like Ben is doing what he does and not changing from that, which is fine if it's working. But if it's not working, you got to figure something else out.
Yeah, and Dan is getting his pass rush is getting home with even a 3-man rush. Legitimately, he's getting the Dahootie sheds.
Yeah.
And it's it's so frustrating to see because you have a timer in your head when you drop back, and then all of a sudden there's a guy standing right there. So it's hard. You kind of take your eyes off your reads once that pressure starts getting in.
Yeah, I agree with that. When the D-line's shedding crazy like that, it just messes up your timing so hard or so badly. As that's going to be a little swing pass to Bijan, able to get 5 yards. I believe we're going to see now for sure nothing but no huddle the rest of the game. Andrew Young.
I've said cover 3, and Dan continues to be in cover 3. just throw the seam, just please one time. Like it'll be there, and just Ben's got to score quick.
Yeah, and this is the problem with no huddle is okay. So but he did call that one quick. A lot of times I see guys go no huddle and then they snap the ball with like 5 seconds left. It's like, well, you might as well have just picked a play.
You go no huddle, you audible to a completely different formation, a few hot routes. Yeah, at that point, just huddle up. But
Yeah. Andrew Young drops back, pretty clean pocket, dropping or kind of rolling out to the right. Gets that one to, is that Pitts there? Makes it 3rd and 1.
Crosser again. Dan came off it with his user. Just a little more patience, and there's some big plays to be had there.
Yep.
You know when someone's using a crosser and you're like, he's gonna come off of it, he's gonna come off, and like they do 99% of the time.
Yeah.
And there's that one psychopath that doesn't.
Yeah, and then you're like, why didn't you get off of that? Oh, it tries to hurdle.
Like when I run trail, like I'm like you know what you're covering the drag the entire time. Like the trail route's so open, just go cover that instead.
Yeah. Andrew Young trying to make something happen for this Falcons team. Just forces that one unnecessarily down the field. Had the drag wide open. His curse picks this off and tries his best to get 6, but only able to get, a handful of yards. But that effectively is ball game, ladies and gentlemen.
Dan's played a brilliant defensive game, and I'm really interested to hear like his thoughts in terms of what his scheme was in the post-game interview. But I have to give him his full props. You typically think of Dan, primarily as an elite offensive user, but he showed a different side of himself to me today, which is completely shutting down this high-flying Atlanta Falcons offense. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, Dan's defense is usually awful. He really, playoffs. It's a matchup. You're playing your opponent. It's not just I'm logging in, I'm playing against Tim or whoever. Like you kind of know what Ben's going to do, and you kind of can scout your opponent and make your defensive calls based on that. I'm surprised we didn't see Ben blitz really at all, like literally at all. At some point, like you might just want to try something different, or at least give the illusion of it, but we haven't really seen that.
As this is going to be a handoff to Cook, stretch run, doesn't get a block. Yes, and he is on conservative. Or else I'm sure we would have saw a juke there.
Yeah, that's how you do it. It's for the punt this ball away. There's just not enough time on the clock for Ben to come back in this game.
Yeah.
If you're Ben, are you just looping around and hitting Morgan Rowe after every single play and hope he tears his bicep?
You might be. And I tell you what, one thing that is interesting with this. As he almost gets in there. One thing that is interesting with this. Falcons team is, Ben, one of the, things that Ben was quite frustrated with when we played the game with me, or a game against me, is I think it was Grady Jarrett got hurt and he lost his inside stuff. And really, James Cook has kind of had his way this game, in combination with Morgan Rowe and Dan's passing game. But I think that being used to an inside stuff and then losing it, I can imagine is just pretty miserable adjustment to make.
Yeah, I just got inside stuff for the first time like 5 weeks ago, and it is a pleasure. And there we go, a 3-man rush again.
Jeez.
That left tackle needs some help.
Yeah.
Literally needs some help. I don't know what ability he has, but I assume it's something good because he is just literally throwing that guy to the ground. That's insane.
Yeah.
Quincy Baber's the MVP of this game. I mean, 3 different times on 3-man rushes. We've seen him just got insta sheds, like you said. I don't know what that left tackle's doing.
Yeah. Oh, he honestly would have got in right there too if that wasn't a slant.
Him spin?
Yeah.
I've never seen a defensive end spin.
Yeah.
I don't know what juice Dan's got these boys on, but it's they should get tested after the game or something.
Oh my God.
So Baber has no outsiders, pass committed, and edge threat. So it definitely could be a combo of the edge threat and pass committed.
Because every time it's happened on a second and long, third and long situation, so probably it probably is pass committed, honestly.
And the thing too, also, I know everyone in this league is an inside zone merchant, but if you're playing against inside stuff, you have to have different runs. They're going to double team your player. Mm-hmm. You have to have, even if it's a draw, they'll still activate, but it's delayed. Bases, things like that. Because if they're so confident that they don't have to really make a big user play, then you have to mix up your runs and try different things because, just running literally inside zone at a guy who's going to throw your guard out of the way is just, not a good recipe.
Are you guys surprised at all as Morgan Rowe has to lob that one, or did a high throw? Maybe a touch pass.
Bicep for that throw.
Yeah, maybe a touch pass would have been the right move. But what I was about to ask is, anyone a little surprised we still see the starters in for the Bucs? I mean, this game's comfortably won. Morgan Rowe already left the game with an injury. Just seems a little risky.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Morgan Rowe specifically is in the game. These better be quick throws if he's getting these throws off, or just runs with his backup here, because you cannot let Morgan Rowe take another hit. That's malpractice if you do. Ooh!
Oh, as Boone gets a little sticky and finds the end zone, as that's just injury to insult when you're in this position. I mean, I felt it when I was playing little. It's just like, you just want the game to be over, but you're not trying to give up. You want to play good defense. Then when you're on, when you have the ball on offense, you're like, I still want to try to put something together. And it's just one of those things where you're like, nothing can go right. And you're like, a combination of please end this, but also I want to show that I'm not terrible type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, 31-7. I know Dan dominated the game. I think if they played this matchup 10 times, Dan wins 6 or 7. I don't think Ben's a 7-point in the playoffs type of player, but Dan really is on his A game today. And
yeah,
it's just, I mean, you know how it is. Some games just don't go your way.
Yeah.
We saw earlier with Little and Austin. I mean, we've seen some questionable throws not get picked, and then for the other person, it gets picked.
Yeah.
It's just is that the game.
So that's going to be handoff to Bijan. Somehow didn't get the first. Really looked like that was the first. He had the first down there.
This whole game is a testament to playoff Dan. I mean, all season long, he was frankly not one of the best users in the NFC. Needed a bunch of things to go his way just to get here, and now for I believe the third straight time, he's going to find himself in the NFC Championship game. And no matter who he's going up against, I mean, you got to give him strong consideration to be the NFC representative here, because he's looked very locked in on both sides of the ball. Yeah,
on the NFC side, I truly don't know. I mean, I guess you would say Allen would be his biggest comp at this point, but I mean, I just don't, the way that he's playing right now, off the top of my head, I'm like, oh yeah, this would be a tough matchup for Dan. This user would be a tough matchup or something like that. It's just right now, he's the front runner.
I agree with that. I agree. I think they match up. Dan matches up better against the remaining two NFC users.
That's gonna be a throw to Pitts, able to get the first. Falcons probably just trying to see, was that another injury or did he call timeout? Regardless, Falcons just trying to maybe get some kind of points here to lift the spirits in the locker room. Andrew Young, clean pocket this time, able to find Pitts again. Takes that to the 16.
What are your guys' thoughts on Dan potentially making his third Super Bowl after losing the first two? How much of that is going to be a mental game for him? Granted, he gets there, because that's something. That's the legacy. Dan lives for the AI legacy, and having Morgan Rowe and all the boat memes every single day of my life in the chat, meaning, going 0-3 in the Super Bowl, that is potentially a horrific, Morgan Rowe will be remembered as a choke artist. There's a lot riding on Dan's future with this. I just wanted your guys' thoughts on, potential Super Bowl.
Yeah, go ahead, Connor.
It's interesting. I mean, I don't know how much that's going to be in the back of his head purely because of his, Super Bowl success in past cycles. We know that he can, and has in the past with Madden 20 and Madden 22, I believe, shaken off multiple Super Bowl losses and, been able to get that 1 or 2 rings at the end of the cycle. 3 actually is what I'm thinking of. Could throw there to Pitts, but I had not thought about that, but as you bring that up, the Morgan Rowe potentially 0-3 point, that is interesting. I think for him, it's less of a, me being 0-3, that's going to get in his head, and more, depending on who he plays out of the AFC, be it yourself, be it Austin, that could potentially get in his head, but I don't know. We'll see.
I started last Madden 0-2 in the Super Bowl, and I remember how I felt after I gave up that kick return touchdown, and I was so mad. And I was like, from this second on, I'm no mercying I don't care. You know what I mean? And when I finally got back there, and I forgot who I played, but it was just I just was seeing red the entire season. I was so mad because I was like, I won this game. So depends on the mindset what Dan has. I'm gonna ask him post game if he jumps in here, but I'm curious with that. But overall, I mean, 2 games in a row. I mean, the Buccaneers looking hot after literally a horrific start, and like you said, needed 45 things to happen and to make the playoffs. And of course, this is how it goes.
Yeah, as we do see the final of this game, 31-13. We see the two head coaches shaking hands here at midfield. Yeah, like I mean, we've said it all game. I mean, just a really clean, good game by the Buccaneers. And as you said, Warren, I mean, I think close to half the time, or maybe slight nod to Dan. That game's gonna be a lot closer, but Dan just played super efficient. And maybe got a few of the crazy D-line sheds that really just kind of that tilted it as far in the scoring way that it did, because I think otherwise it probably would have been a little closer. But we do have our winner in here. Dan, what's your thoughts?
Oh, first of all, good game to Ben. That was fun. It was. I think you hit it on the head. It was probably not a little closer than the score indicated. I felt really sharp. I was really quick on my reads on offense. I think Ben was very just like a half second behind his user, but I think that's just because I was like really just throwing the ball really quick, and Rose got a quick release, so I was able to get away with some. On defense, I felt really good. Now, I heard a lot of talk about how I'm pretty bad at defense, so just decided to just change some things up and just try and play better. And that's exactly what I've done the past 2 games, and I'm excited to be back at the championship game. This is 3 full seasons, 3 championship games. That's pretty good. So I'm excited for whoever I play, and it should be fun.
Warren, Connor, any questions for Dan?
Yeah, I have a quick question for Dan. I think you've mentioned it to me many times. You've mentioned it on streams many times. The 2 Atlanta Falcons that give you kind of the most grief when you're planning your defense are Bijan Robinson and Kyle Pitts. They're both kind of unicorns in their own ways, and and without having the stats in front of me, it seemed to me like you kind of relegated them both to non-factors really until mostly the end of the fourth quarter when the game was already was no longer in doubt. So were you intentionally focusing on them with your user / like potentially manning them up, or was that just like a reflection of how well you played in general, but you weren't necessarily like keying in on them specifically?
Yeah, I think I was keying on them absolutely, but I think really the biggest factor was first drive of the game. I think Ben just passed 3 times and I sacked him 3 times. I believe that's what happened, and I just got the ball instantly and scored a touchdown with the possession advantage, up 7-0. Knowing we get the ball in the second half, I felt like Ben just was playing from behind the whole game, and like if you got him playing from ahead, then you'd see him running the ball, and I'd probably have a lot harder time stopping everything. But since I got him from behind, and Ben obviously had to force the ball down the field, do some hurry ups and everything like that, I felt a little more comfortable.
Dan, I wanted to know your thoughts on, I mean, first of all, your defense was like, really, it reminded me of your defense last Madden, where you kind of, you rushed 3, you moved your linebackers all over the field for whatever reason, and then you got pressure. Your D-line, obviously, I think players, I think Connor said Baber, whoever is player of the game, and yeah. I think all the guys really ate. You got absolute, 3-man rush sheds for, just absolutely insane, where it's, I'm sure for Ben, that's super frustrating. When Morgan Rowe went down with the bicep, what was your thought process on that? Because that was a potentially all-time bad moment.
Yeah, well, we were talking the other day about quarterback injuries. I'm like, man, Lamar got hurt. We saw Josh Allen get hurt today. I'm like, man, these quarterback injuries go all over. I thought in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm talking about injuries so much, Rowe's going to get hurt eventually. And I don't know if they just tuned it up like QB injuries or something, but they're ridiculous lately, aren't they? And when I did the sneak, obviously, okay, let's try and get the sneak at 1 yard, the 1 yard line. I was like, that's karma for going for the QB sneak, going for the cheesy sneak to be just get hurt like that. And I thought it was going to broken ribs, out 5 weeks, everything like that. But thankfully, it was only a medium risk thing. So I was very fortunate. Well, yeah, I was nervous. I saw my life flashing through my eyes.
I do have one more quick question for Dan. Quincy Babers, obviously 3 sacks to his name today, probably the MVP of this game in general. Can you just remind me real quick, because I'm forgetting, what college does he stem from? Where did he go?
I don't know. It's an SEC school, SEC East. I think it was University of Florida.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. That's
Oh,
crazy.
Gator, great.
Yeah, sorry. I just had to make sure.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, we'll shift our focus over to Ben. Unfortunately, the losing user in this matchup. But Ben, how are we feeling?
Not great. Played pretty terrible. Deserved to lose. Would have been nice if I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but I'm pretty sure Jerron Curse was playing as a sub linebacker, as a 6'4" safety. That was fucking annoying. The 3-man rush getting in was fucking annoying. Me playing terribly was the most annoying part. That just absolutely did not deserve to win.
Connor, Warren, any thoughts, any questions?
First off, Ben, congrats on a great season. First seed in a pretty crowded NFC, especially coming out of that division. You should be given, I think, a lot of respect for the season you've put up, despite kind of the unfortunate way it ended. I guess my question for you, obviously, is you got that season 1 ring, continue to make it to the playoffs, continue to be an absolute threat, but haven't quite made it back to that height, I guess, as an NFC user. Do you think it's a team building thing? Do you think it's people catching up scheme wise? Like what do you think is the next step for you as a user to get back to where you want to be and where, frankly, I think you can get in this NFC?
I don't think it's a team building thing. My team's really good. Last 2 years been eliminated by Dan's Buccaneers, so he's won the NFC Championship the last couple of years too. So yeah, he's a good player.
Warren, anything from you?
Is there anything like going back to the game, like if you had to restart like right now, you would do differently? Because my immediate thought would be no, because I think you played your game. It's just literally your game is the complete thing that works. Like for Dan's with the inside stuff and then the 3-man rush, like all that stuff is like literally like just really really tough. But is there anything you would have, knowing now, you would have done differently?
Yeah, I do wish I was, not 3 and out in the first drive. Maybe give Bijan the ball once or twice. 4th down before the end of the half, I fucking had B wide open, and I just hesitated I have no idea why. Just hesitated. Yeah, there's a lot of things I do differently, obviously, in retrospect. But, that's the game.
Definitely, but I think we all share this sentiment. No one likes losing, especially in the playoffs. But you have definitely cemented yourself as one of the top guys in the NFC. So I think we all expect to see you back there next year. Of course, obviously, it's frustrating when you have to keep having these matchups with a division opponent. It makes it even more difficult, but. Nonetheless, shout out to you. Great season. Unfortunately, not the way you wanted it to end. But we'll go ahead and toss it back over to Dan here for any last words before we sign off here.
Yeah, I don't know if he's watching this. I linked this again to him. Shout out my cousin Mikey, CFM community member, maybe future BL waitlister. I don't know. Shout out my brother. I'm just excited for where I play. I probably shouldn't have made the playoffs. It took until the 11th hour to know if I was going to be in or not. Not controlling my destiny. So shout out Kook for putting me in, allowing me to be in this position, and just ready to watch to see who I play. It should be fun. NFC Championship again. So haven't won the Super Bowl. So if I can win 2 more games, that would be wonderful. If I don't, then maybe it's another disappointment, but at least I'm there. At least I'm there to try again. So thank you guys very much. Thank you, Cody, for doing this.
Yeah, shout out to you all. BLN, we've got a handful of people in here. I believe, Connor, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going to see a stream from you at 10 o'clock, correct, of the next NFC matchup?
Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Yeah, we're going to see. It's going to be Bears v. Seahawks. Don't know who's color commentating with me, but we'll get someone in there.
Awesome. Well, yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow. Do we know when that other game is?
Not yet. It's depending on Dahoody's middle school basketball schedule.
Fair enough. All right. Well, stay tuned. Game tomorrow night, and then Browns Chargers probably hopefully in the next night or two. But great game, everybody, and thanks for hanging out with me. And shout out to Connor and Warren. Goodbye, everybody.